So thanks for joining us today. We wanted to give you 3 great tips, 3 ways of improving your relationship. In other words, 3 ways how to feel more loved in your relationship. So tip number 1 is, we're busy all the time these days. Everybody knows in their own life, there are so many things we have to do. There are so many ways that people now contact us, as an example.
And it used to be we would send, you would send a letter and you would wait for a response, and maybe a week later you got a response. But now with Messenger, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, there's so many ways that people contact us, and we've got busy. And when we're so busy, it's difficult to get on the same page. And what's so important is we need to be on the same page as each other, because 2 working together, 2 is more powerful than 1.
It used to be that you'd send that letter and then you'd reply to that letter, and it was 2 weeks before you actually sorted something out.
Now it can be 2 minutes.
Yeah, everyone expects an instant answer, and you find that in our own communications, in a marriage or in a relationship, we're looking for that instant fix, that instant answer in our relationship. So getting on the same page takes being able to know how to work together, setting up systems within your relationship so that it's still fresh and it's still spontaneous, but you've actually got things sorted out so you get the attention. Because there's a huge difference between us. These days we tend to think of men and women as being equal and the same. The truth is we are equal, but we're not the same.
Very, very different. What Brett wants from a relationship is very different from what I want from a relationship. So, and often for the female, it's the little things. It's just the wee tiny things that make such a big difference. And often men think it's the huge things, and it's not. It's the little things that just make us feel cared for.
So for a guy, it's about being supported. It's not the little things that count. We like to feel that when we're looking to achieve something, or we're looking to produce in our relationship, create money or wealth or work, that she's on our side, that she's backing us in what we're doing and what we're leading towards.
And for us, it's little things like just in the communication, the tone of voice, or the way they ask for something. Or, if you want something in the cupboard, just moving you gently and getting something in the cupboard.
So men tend to think it's the big stuff, take her away from a holiday, take her out, for the weekend. Sure, she likes all that stuff, but you're going to get as many points for those things,
for a tone of voice, than you will for a big holiday.
And just that small stuff. So that's tip number 1. So tip number 2, we've now got a 60% divorce rate. And it's easy just to go, well, that's just where we've got to, that's just happened. But there are actually reasons behind any shift like that. And it's been a major demographic shift. We've gone, before World War I and World War II, we had a 10% divorce rate. Now, afterwards, it jumped to a 40% divorce rate. And as we got to the 60s, it then increased up into that 60% level. Why has this happened? And how, knowing that it has happened, how can we reverse that in our relationships? How can we get to the point where we're really connecting with one another and actually feeling like we're engaged?
And during the war, women became everything to everybody. They started working in the war machines, they started building the bullets, they started looking after the kids, going to work, looking after their parents, and most likely his parents too while he was at war. So they became everything to everybody, and today they're still doing it. And they're exhausted.
Absolutely. Whereas men went away, and you've got to understand, when you actually think about what happened, virtually all the men between age 20 and age 60 went to war right across, all Western countries. And they experienced slaughter at a scale that we really can't understand now. Like 120 million people died. So you would go away in a platoon, and 3/4 of your platoon would not come back with you.
Wow.
So when they came back, they were seeking one thing. They were seeking peace. They just wanted to try and forget everything that happened, and they became emotionally shut down. Then the generation after that modeled that behavior. So we grew up into a generation of men shut down and seeking peace.
And women being everything to everybody.
So as we try and communicate, he's shutting down and withdrawing. She's then stepping up and starting to hammer him or she's stepping into what's known as her masculine state, and she's withdrawing as well. So you're either in one of those two types of relationships, and that dynamic is the major cause of us now getting divorced. So the danger zone is between 7 and 15 years. And you're going to be somewhere in that 60% zone if you don't know how to correct this. So what we need to be able to do to change this around is realize this dynamic is going on and learn the skills for him to be present.
And once that he is present, women de-stress through conversation. So through that conversation, the cortisol levels goes down and the oxytocin level goes up. So when the levels go up, we feel connected. And when we feel connected, then even in the bedroom, we want to make love. So we need to connect to make love. I mean, for a guy, that's very different.
Yes, for a guy, he needs to make love to feel connected. So we're very opposite. So how do you overcome these difficulties? You learn what we call the communication code. You learn a way of different steps in a communication that are around not just the strategy of doing it, but also the state that you're in. So when a guy's totally focused, he's totally present with her, all women know what that word means, because the way a female brain is designed, she can look at a man and she knows whether he's thinking about something else besides her in that moment.
Totally true.
And if he is, then what she's going to feel is, as distinct from thinking, what she's going to feel is, oh, he's not really interested in me, and her oxytocin levels will fall, and she won't feel that she loves him. She might know that she loves him, but she'll no longer feel it. And pretty soon, after 6-7 years together, she's starting to have thoughts of, this isn't working.
I want more.
And he's having the same thoughts because she's been withdrawing or she's been hammering him to try and break through that shutdown mode that he's got himself in. And this isn't our fault. This is coming from a cultural conditioning that is now sentencing all of us to a 60% divorce rate. Unless, like Marie and myself and everyone that works with us within Relationship Warriors, learns how to switch this communication code around and no longer is part of the 60%, but is firmly set into the 40%. And not just together, but like really happy together. So that's tip number 2. So tip number 3, how to argue. The sad thing about relationships is you're going to argue. It doesn't matter whether you've been together like Marie and I for 26 years, you are still going to have disagreements.
And arguing is okay. There is nothing wrong with arguing. It's
particularly for women. They really love it.
It's actually healthy. But it's how we argue that we need to look at.
Yes.
Name calling, degrading, switching the argument are all not okay.
So you're going to come from one of 3 types of families. You're either going to come from the Viking family, where everything was out on the table. You had a disagreement, everybody knew about it. Let's just get the family washing and dump it on the dining room table and let's get stuck into it. So you either came from that family or you might have come from the peacemaker family.
Now the peacemaker, that's where nothing's really talked about and it's all under the carpet and we keep everything nice above the carpet.
Yes. So we got the family washing and we hid it underneath the table. And we don't really talk about stuff. So, I hear many married couples say, we have a great relationship. We never argue.
It's like,
and warning bells go off because that means the relationship's not real. They're not being genuine or real with each other. They're not really talking about their feelings.
Or the hard conversations which need to happen in a relationship.
To make it great. Or the third style you could come from is what we call the samurai family. Now, the samurai family, there is a lot of discussion, but it's more sarcasm that they use. So cutting comments, slicing at each other. So literally they've got the family washing, hung it up, got some swords and hacked it to pieces. And if you come from that family, that's probably the worst one to come from because what's happening is you're actually attacking each other. It no longer has even become about the topic itself. So another dynamic that goes on when we argue is what's called triangulation.
And triangulation is, we always pick a topic to fight over. It could be kids, in-laws, friends,
sex, money,
drink, money, and it's never about that. It's about the underlying emotion, what's behind that.
As an example, if you're arguing about money, it's probably going to be more around she or he wants to work together on the money, and you feel like you're heading in opposite directions. So understanding that we're going to argue and be able to get on the same page is really, really important. So think about, what do you guys argue over? And then try and look at your partner and go, okay, what do I really want here? See, when we shift from our heads, where we're at a cognitive level, understanding the content of the conversation, we're going to get stuck in who's going to win. When we move to our hearts, and it's more about, okay, emotionally, what does she need? What's this really about? Oh, we're arguing about money, but really what she wants is, she wants to connect with me so we're heading in the same direction. When we can get to that point, things change massively. So we've given you 3 great tips and tools here out of an arsenal that literally comprises hundreds of these same strategies and the ways to implement these strategies. Now we've got a great 2-day event coming up here in Perth at the end of April. So we're going to provide the link for you down below on this page, and all you need to do is click the link, have a look at what we're going to cover in those 2 days, and enable you to really upskill, uplift your relationship to greater depths of intimacy, connection, and love. Now, if that sounds cool to you, all you got to do is click that link down below. Thanks for being with us.
Click the link. We'll see you there.